Traipsing, that's a good word.
Yeah. Um, what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, I can have that be a segment. I'll just teach new words every time, teach good vocab because Americans are sorely lacking in vocabulary. But that's not what I was going to. What was I going to say? I was about to say something. Oh, what is this? I don't know. She might get mad at us. What is this about Toddy getting cold feet?
I don't know. You know
What
how
is
she
it?
is.
Too much pressure to come onto this fucking podcast
Yeah. I don't
where
know.
we do nothing. We just
She asked
babble
she asked me a
aimlessly.
question. She asked me a question today. What was it? Oh, she wanted me to know what you Ethan specifically thought of the Delta variant. And I said to her, I was like, "Do you hear that echo?"
No.
I don't know, but maybe that's why I haven't been having my mic close. Say something.
Do you hear me now?
I
Oh.
hear you. Do you hear an
Don't
echo?
don't put this on the recording. We got to cut this. You're
Yeah,
already
we're gonna have to
recording.
we're gonna have to cut all of
I
this.
don't want any of the viewing public, listening public to hear
I'll
this.
cut it.
Yeah.
You know it's easy for me to cut.
All right, you're gonna
I
cut
just
all
don't want
this.
to. I
Okay.
don't want to hear the echo. I can hear it.
You still hear one?
I don't.
Uh,
Okay.
Try again.
Do you hear an echo now?
I haven't heard one at all.
Nah, I don't hear one. Bring
Put
it
it
a little
closer,
bit
Ethan.
closer though.
I hear more of your kitchen when it's far away.
Yeah, I think it's my microphone is the problem. What if I do? What if I lower the gain, but I
No,
still
you're
have
there.
it
You're good
closer?
there.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, that's good. Are you hearing an echo?
Nope.
All right. So you're gonna cut all of this
Yep,
from
I'm
the
gonna cut
fucking
it.
final. You better cut it.
You
I
can
the
start. You
problem.
can start right at the beginning, where people see my wonderful
That's a good shirt.
"Hear Me Right Meow." Thank you to Ben.
Well, you're lucky. You're lucky we're recording earlier tonight, so that I have time to edit and we can get that in real quick. But
The
Hey, I don't
problem.
control the tornadoes. Come on.
true,
The
just like the
problem.
thunderstorms last week.
The problem is that I'm never gonna listen to this, so I won't know if Colin actually edited it or not.
I'm gonna double check now.
Oh, you will? Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, neither one of you usually listens, so what do you care?
Hey,
It's
hey,
important. It's the principle.
I subscribe.
Hmm.
You get the
Me too.
download. That's good. That's good. That
So,
helps us out.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Toddy was asking me about the Delta variant, and I said, "Well, we're recording tonight. We have a mailbag, so why don't you, send the question in?"
Yeah.
But I don't think she did.
She's your wife. She's allowed to not officially submit it. She can just ask you to your face, and we'll honor it.
Oh, and Tim wanted to know, Matt, what high gravity beer is.
Okay, so there is a term, a measurement made called the original gravity. Essentially, the way to measure ABV, and please, listeners out there, if I'm getting this wrong, correct me, but you measure ABV by measuring the delta of the gravity measurements from before and after fermenting using a hydrometer, the little floaty bob thing. That's got a weight in it, and based on the concentration of alcohol or sugars in there, it'll give you a reading. And by measuring before and after, you can determine how much sugar has been consumed by the yeast, and that in turn will tell you how much alcohol has been produced. So high gravity beer means it's starting off with a lot of fermentable sugars in there. Actually, and I think the gravity measurement is actually called a Plato. The unit is called a Plato, which is kind of cool. Plato, philosopher, not child toy. And yeah, so if you have a high gravity beer, you're putting a lot of fermentable sugars in there. You got like a thick, heavy, strong beer, so it's gonna end up high alcohol.
All right.
Why
All
is
right.
Tim drinking like Steel Reserve or something?
No, we were looking at beers from one of our favorite breweries down here in Charlotte, and it said high gravity, and we were all like, what does that mean? And Tim really wanted to know, and I said, well, I'm talking to Matt tonight, so I guess I can ask. But he's also not a listener, so he'll never know what the
Well, tell
answer
him I
is.
answered it very eloquently if he decides to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, he said he had too many podcasts to listen to. That's why he doesn't listen.
Yeah, okay, bullshit, nonsense.
He should come on the show sometime.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if he's not a listener, he's not coming on the show. Come on.
Uh-huh.
Should we just get all of the actual fan interaction out of the way since we're talking about fans of the show right now?
yeah, why not? Speaking
right.
of that, hey, Greg, Workhorse is pretty cool. Really awesome space. Really like nice and big. they had a Homer Simpson quote on the wall in the men's bathroom. That sells me right away. And they had some really cool food. I just didn't have time to stand around and eat. But nice little place tucked away in King of Prussia. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, you and Greg were drinking the beer at the same time. Not at the same place, but he was at home. You were at the brewery.
We were hamming it up on Untapped.
Yeah. He was texting me, and then I was doing something, so I wasn't texting him right back. And then I look at my text later, and he's like, "Never mind, I figured it out on Untapped." All right. So we'll stay with Cousin Greg right now because he's got a few things for us. So first off, Cousin Greg left us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. So like Melissa, actually Ethan doesn't know this. Crap. We should just not tell him.
What do you mean
Right,
not
Matt?
tell me?
Yeah,
Don't tell him. Make him listen. Make him
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah, we know who Graham is, but you don't.
Graham?
Yeah, from
Our
our
first
first
review.
5-star.
Oh, Graham, that guy. You know
It's
who
better
he
and
is.
better every
Or-
week.
Or she, if it's a last name.
Yeah, you don't know who it is, but I guess
do
you'll
not.
have to listen to figure it out because we talked
Okay.
about it last episode.
Uh-huh. Thanks, Graham. I'm just going to say thanks, Graham, and that's fine. And thank you, Greg.
Yeah, Greg said an eclectic group of guys. See how I got that word in there, Ethan?
Very good. Good job.
Really makes me laugh, yet also provokes deep thought. Love listening to all of the baseball sabermetric nerdy stuff, beer reviews, and Ethan's rants. I will forever merge into traffic just a little differently. Keep up the great work. Every episode is getting better and better. Looking forward to a bright future for the jocks and the schlub. The shift still and will forever stink. PA all day.
That's a great fucking review, dude.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, good review.
He's a good writer. Let's
Yeah.
get him on the show.
Yeah, he's already
He wants
asked
to,
me.
right?
Yeah,
He's gonna
yeah,
come on.
Yeah,
All right,
we've
good.
got a number of different things that he could fit into, so we'll figure it out. He told me
Absolutely.
last week, he's like, I watched you guys on YouTube this past week. It just hits different. And I was like, all right, I guess that's a good thing.
Okay.
All right, staying with Cousin Greg, one more thing here real quick. Cousin Greg wrote into the mailbox today, and he was wondering if anyone had caught the show on Netflix, Untold: The Malice at the Palace. Anyone see that?
No, it's on my
No.
it's on my to watch list actually. So it comes up in my
Suggestions.
recommendations. Yeah. I just to be a little bit of a nerd, I was watching the 5-part video game documentary.
On Netflix?
So I finished that up last night though. So maybe Malice at the Palace is the next in line. For some reason, I remember watching that unfold live, but I can't remember exactly the circumstances around that game.
Yeah, that was the Ron Artest melee, obviously. Although I don't think Artest was the original. It's so long ago, and I was so young. I don't remember exactly what.
Steven Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson.
And
I think was
O'Neal?
the first one. Yep,
Jackson and
Jermaine
O'Neal?
O'Neal. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All went into the stands. I mean, just
Right.
Yeah.
nuts, crazy.
This
Well, yeah,
one,
because
Ron
what was it?
Artest was not
Artest was laying
involved?
down on the scores table.
Yeah,
And then he
was involved in
somebody
this one.
threw. Right. Yeah, he
got
wasn't
hit
involved
with
at
a
all.
beer, and then that's when he went nuts.
Yeah,
I mean,
Okay.
sorry, not Ron Artest. Meta World Peace.
I
Oh,
think
right,
he's
that's
back
right.
to Ron
I forgot.
Artest though.
Oh, he's back to okay.
really?
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah, I think he
Sorry,
pulled no
sorry,
Cinco.
Ron / Meta.
Well, that's super interesting.
Yeah, I bet you it's a good documentary. We'll have to get back to you, Cousin Greg, on that. But
Here's his name right now. It's Meta Sandiford Artest. Hyphenated last name. I don't know. Sandiford? Maybe a spouse or something? Good for him. He fucking goes for it with names. You know, I admire that.
he was
Anyways,
Probably
sorry,
second
that's not
only
what this is
to
about.
Ocho Cinco out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ocho Cinco, right? Yeah.
I'll just never forget when Ron Artest hit that big three he got the assist from Kobe to win Game 7 against the Celtics in 2010. And they did the interview after the game. And the first thing, not even answering the question, he just says, "I want to thank my therapist." And like just goes off on this big long tangent. But
That's amazing. Oh, you know what? That made me think of something, then we'll get right back to this. So there's an amazing Mike Tyson clip, an interview on YouTube that my friends and I in college used to watch all the time, and it's like the funniest thing ever. And he goes on this, he just wins a match, and then he goes for his post-match interview, and before the guy can even ask him a question, he just starts going, which is what made me think of this, because you said Artest did that. And he goes on this huge rant, like talking shit to Lennox Lewis, and talks about how he's going to eat his children. And then he does like a Muslim blessing at the end, because he was, I don't know if he still is, but he was like a practicing Muslim at the time. I don't know if it's still on YouTube. I'm going to look it up while we get into our next user thingy or our next fan question. But if it's still on YouTube, I'll tell everybody. And if you've never seen it before, you need to watch it because it's the funniest thing ever. So, anyways, go ahead, continue.
All right. So, Matt, this one's for you. Just to remind you, your friend Ben, who I think you're wearing the shirt for today, wanted to know what the golden patent you have in the background.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was smart once, and I worked on a really cool project when I was at GE, making light bulbs for the chemicals that go into LED chips that were then put into TVs. So the chemical we were working on helped make your reds redder, for lack of a better term. And I was a part of an experiment that led to a new process to make that more efficiently and more quickly. It was a crazy couple of years. It was a really, really cool project. And I actually, the TV I have downstairs has that technology that I worked on in it, which is kind of the coolest thing in the world. Like, oh shit, like this TV is something I work, like a very, very small fraction of it, but like something I worked on, something I have a patent on is in this TV. Like, holy shit. But yeah, it was really cool. I got to do a lot of fun stuff in that project. At one point we were converting an old, like 100-year-old foundry into our new office space and our new production area. And in the conference room, I got to buy like two 80-inch Sony flat panel TVs, one that had our product in it and one that didn't. And I got to design the room, and we put up slideshows that showed like strawberries and tomatoes, and we would like, ooh, look at the stuff on the right. That has our, I think they're calling it Trigain now, but it has our Trigain phosphor in it, and it looks, look at how good that tomato looks. Like, oh, compared to that other crappy tomato on the other screen. Like, oh man, it looks so good. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was, yeah, I don't know actually how much I'm still allowed to talk about it and still what's confident, but there was some pretty crazy chemistry. We had to solve some pretty cool projects or some pretty cool challenges that, like, just imagine, like we had to make everything out of Teflon, which is just weird. So like everything we put in there had to be machined out of Teflon, which just adds tons and tons of different variables to everything. And it was a cool project. But anyway, thanks for the shout out, Ben. Thanks for the calling out my one. I had a couple submitted. That's the only one that I've ever had granted, but it means a lot. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Matt,
Nice.
You got to take a picture for us later so we can put it on social. And if you want to kind of see where it is in Matt's room, you got to watch the YouTube version, because obviously if you're listening to this, you're not going to really know what he's talking about. But
yeah, and then beneath it's all my my high school CD collection and a couple beer hats, just for everyone interested.
So funny. What beer hat you got? Is that the place in Anaheim?
Yep. Yeah, because I'm drinking another Anaheim beer tonight. It's called Gem Condition. It's a mint chocolate stout aged in bourbon barrels and then finished on more chocolate and mint. Ooh.
Jesus.
Ooh, it's tasty.
Diabetes in
so
the bottom.
good.
Diabetes. Oh yeah. Ooh.
So good. I've got so I have my Simpsons right here.
Yeah.
Duff beer, Wicked Weed. That is my beer tonight. A sour, watermelon dragon fruit sour from Wicked Weed in Asheville, one of the great breweries out in Asheville. And I also have my Toon Squad uni on.
I have to do this, Colin, but Budweiser. I'm sorry. Sorry.
What do they make the Wicked Weed thing?
Yeah, so Wicked
okay.
Weed was a really controversial brand because they built themselves up in the craft beer community as like, screw big beer, we're independent. Yeah, like screw them, we're never gonna be like them, we're never gonna be like Budweiser. And then like 6 months later, like Budweiser bought them. So like, and then it was like, then they like released this big, really, and it was other breweries that Budweiser bought too, but this really dumb ad campaign that was like, hey, we're all beer drinkers and we should all band together because the real person that's challenging our market share is wine and spirits, but like drink our beer still because we're still beer people. And it's like,
Wow. I knew some of that. I didn't know all of that though. I liked it there a lot when we went there.
Oh, it was. I visited before they got bought out. I mean, it's an awesome place. You can go around the corner to the Funkatorium,
Yeah,
which is like this big cellar with all their sour. Like, it's an awesome place. They have awesome food. They've got some really, really good beers. I mean, Promiscuous was like, I think it's called Promiscuous, like one of their early IPAs. Really, really good. They do good sours. They do like a really good early pastry. Like, I mean, they made really good stuff, but it's always frustrating, especially. I think they got ridiculed extra because they built their brand on the fact that it's like, we're never gonna do that.
Right.
And then they got bought out. So
yeah.
We'll save that for another episode where I can go on a rant with all the breweries that Budweiser and Miller actually own that you really don't realize that they do.
The one you've mentioned to me before, I think, is like Devil's Backbone or something, right?
Devil's Backbone in Virginia.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
The first domino to fall for those of you out there who track it. Goose Island was like the first big craft brewer that was bought by Budweiser. Now, it's funny because also like craft beer nerds like me that are like two-faced here, like, yeah, I'm going to give Colin shit for drinking Wicked Weed, but then every Black Friday I'm going to go out and scour the market for Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. So a lot of us are still two-faced, oh, it's rare and it's tasty, so I want to go get it. I don't care that Budweiser makes it. Like, so.
We know what Matt's going to be for Halloween.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what?
You'll be
Two-Face, you dummy.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
right over the head.
That's all right.
That's what Matt said earlier, that he used to be smart. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
good callback. Very nice. Very nice. See, that's how you can tell we're getting better at podcasting, is because Colin just did that. That's a veteran podcaster move. Very nice.
He is the professional.
He is the professional. Yes, we knew this. Now, I am drinking, finally, I'm trying Protagonist, our sponsor, Protagonist Brewing in Charlotte, my first time having them. Colin sent us some Queen Charlotte, a Pilsner. It's very nice, very solid Pilsner. Nice and crispy, refreshing. I'm enjoying it. So, thank you, Protagonist. Oh, and I've never shown my shirt, but I'm wearing one of my Trampled shirts.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Trampled by Turtles, my favorite band of all time. This is a go-to shirt of mine, along with a few other Trampled shirts.
How many holes does that one have in it?
This one actually doesn't. So that's the nice thing about Trampled merch that I've noticed is the shirts are not like crazy expensive, but they're fucking comfy and they're durable. I've had this thing, I want to say, since like 2014 probably, and I wear it like all the time.
It's pretty damn thin.
Oh really? When did you buy that?
Oh, years ago. It's the one I sent to Jeremy because I'm too fat.
Oh, okay. It could be that like in the early days the merch might have been a little bit less quality,
it's
but
okay. Yeah. I wore it twice.
These days, really good. So, anyways.
We'll have to talk to Christian and figure out what they use so we can put out our own merch and just know we got that high quality stuff.
Hell yeah.
Same. Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can you imagine people buying stuff with our faces on it and walking around with it?
No.
I'll put it down there right now. I'll pay for the first round of mugs with our logo on it.
Okay,
Mugs.
I would actually use a mug with our logo.
Yeah,
I would do that. I don't know if anybody else
Also,
would.
Ethan, you know what? We'll do mugs, and I'll pay for the first round of pint glasses. If we sell them, great. If not, no worries. But you need a pint glass, Ethan, because you're drinking your Queen Charlotte out of a rocks glass.
I have pint glasses, but I like drinking them out of these.
No, but
I can take my time, and the other half of the beer stays cold.
Do you have it in the fridge?
Open and it's turning flat.
Do you have it in the fridge?
Wouldn't it turn flat if? Yeah, I do. Wouldn't it turn flat if it was in the big glass too?
Yeah,
maybe. Well, the way you drink it, yeah. The way Matt drinks it, no.
Well, right, true. Yeah, he'd drink it fast enough. Yeah.
Well, okay. First rounder on me though. If we sell them, great. If not, I'll give them to family members for Christmas gifts.
I literally thought that 0 people would ever listen to this podcast, and people do. So if I think that 0 people would buy like a pint glass or a mug, I'm probably wrong about that too. So
hey, you never know what people will buy. Another podcast I'm listening to, they put out washcloths, kind of jokingly, like, "Oh yeah, like our face is on this washcloth. You can use it. You can use this washcloth to clean your bum." And like, they sold out in 24 hours.
That's fucking funny. That's really good.
That is amazing. I'll put together a poll with some of the. We'll come up with like 4 different options.
Okay.
And we'll see.
What about
we'll see
a
what
rag to use? I like to use rags to I always wipe down the sink in my kitchen and in my bathroom after I wash my hands because I don't like puddles of water. So maybe like a rag for the sinks with our logo on it to wipe off the puddles of water. That's what I would get behind.
Ethan, let's call it a bar rag, okay?
Sure.
Or a dish towel, not just. Dish towel.
If you must, fine.
Buy this rag. Oh, when you
I
say
like that
rag,
better.
When you say rag, I think of like my mom cutting up old T-shirts,
Yeah,
or like,
dirty.
It's called two jocks and a schlub. So the schlub part, it's a rag. Thematically it makes sense. I think it's good.
okay, then we'll do a rag with just your face on it.
Okay, cool. I like that. Or maybe a plunger. I think that would be fun. How about a
Yes.
plunger with our logo?
I've got a toilet cleaner, a toilet brush, that
I
honors
like
the
these
former
ideas.
president.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay.
Perfect. Uh-huh. Look at this. We're so creative coming up with
Oh,
all these great merch ideas. Why
it
hasn't
was
anybody else
actually
thought of
sent to
this?
me as a housewarming gift by a friend who thinks she's pretty funny. She was fairly high and just decided, as she was giggling in the corner of her living room stone, that would be a great housewarming gift.
Oh, that's funny.
So shout out to Chloe for listening, but I do use her
Chloe.
toilet brush.
Yo.
So I do use her. Oh
Does
yeah,
she
Colin
listen?
knows Chloe.
Yeah.
Ethan, you could have known her, but
LA
no,
Chloe.
I know the name. She actually listens to this thing?
no, I don't think so. But
I was gonna say, come on, Chloe.
you could have met her though.
You live in
okay.
the LA. You got way better shit to do.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? Who did
Yeah.
we answer? We answered Greg.
Yeah, we Greg, Ben, we got through everything from listeners. So
Well, should we answer Toddy though?
I don't know if you want to get into Delta.
I'll just do
Up to you.
something. I'll say something really quickly that now I haven't done like any like super deep dive, so I don't know all of the data on this, but Delta's fucking serious. I mean, it's super contagious. It's like it's like the original COVID on steroids. Now, last I knew, the data says that if you're fully vaccinated, you still have a really excellent chance of not getting severe illness or death. You can still get sick. You might still get symptoms. You might not. But you have a really good chance of not getting, really sick or dying or going to the hospital. If you are not vaccinated, you are going to get really sick probably. You're going to get really sick and you might fucking die. So don't be an idiot. Go and get the shot if you haven't yet. I can't imagine that anybody who listens to this hasn't. I'm sure I'm pretty much preaching to the choir on all of this. But the larger point, and this is, wasn't planning on going on some long rant about this, but since I'm talking about it, the larger point, I don't give a fuck if you're not afraid of the virus. Being a human being, being a part of society means that you need to give a shit about the welfare of other people. And if you don't give a shit enough about the welfare of other people to go and get a shot, then you're an asshole, and you really need to relook at your life. You need to reconsider your life and your decisions and your opinions. The only reason that humanity has advanced is because we support each other, because we work together. And if you can't, in the midst of a global pandemic, if you allow yourself to be completely politicized to a point where you aren't caring about other people and you refuse to get a vaccine because you just think it's a political statement, you're being immature and you're being selfish and you're being a fucking moron. So go and get the shot. It's easy. Have you ever worried about polio in your life? Have you ever worried about getting polio? No, you haven't.
Or
Or
measles.
smallpox? No, you haven't, because of fucking vaccines. They work. Listen to experts. There's this thing nowadays, and this has been happening for years, where all of a sudden we don't respect experts anymore. We think because of Google that we don't need expertise anymore, and that's insane. Okay? I have a doctorate in music. So in the grand scheme of things, I would be kind of considered an expert on music, right? But I don't look at that and say, oh, I have a doctorate and I have Google, so I just know everything about everything. No. If I need to know something about engineering, I'm going to ask fucking Matt. Expertise exists. So respect it. Pay attention to it. It's not difficult. Not a difficult concept. Anyway, sorry, I'm probably preaching to the choir, and nobody needed to hear that, but I felt like putting it out there because it was on my mind.
No,
Now
it's
I'm done.
good. If I need to ask questions about a squeaky cheek exploder or a tooty leather pole, I'll ask you. No.
Exactly, right.
No, and I don't pretend to know more about music than you, because that would be dumb. It's your expertise. You've gone to 10 years of school for that, plus everything you did before college.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Um,
anyways, there you go,
the other
Toddy.
thing-
Hopefully that's what you wanted to know. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to tack on a little bit
Oh,
to
yeah.
this, and Colin, interrupt too, but regardless of political party or affiliation, just the idea of hey, I'm going to make a small personal sacrifice for the good of everyone. Kind of the unwillingness to do that kind of bothers me.
Oh, it's fucked up, dude. Kind of
and-
bothers. Yeah, it's insane.
And the analogy I make is, if you think back 80 years ago to World War II, when we had coupon books for everything. Hey, you get 3 gallons of gas this week and 1 pound of bacon, and oh, I'm sorry, you don't get beef, you get wheat. Like, here you go, save your bacon grease and grow a victory garden. Like, it was a sacrifice for the holy shit, people. What if we had to do that again? Like, yeah. Would it be different because it's the troops this time and I can do anything for the troops? Or is it like, no, I'm gonna eat my beef hamburgers because I want to eat my
personal
hamburgers
freedom.
And I'm gonna drive my gas guzzling car all the time. Like, I don't know. It just that's again, like you said, part of being a society. It's frustrating because just take 2 seconds and be like, hey, I'm gonna do this small inconvenience because it's gonna help out everyone else.
Yeah.
So please,
it should be a no-brainer. It should be a no-brainer. Yep, absolutely. Sweet. 2 jocks and a schlub goes political. I love it.
And speaking of political, Matt, you had said that your boy Brett Favre had some nice things to say recently. I'm curious to know what they are.
We're thinking on the same lines because I almost use that as a segue as well. But surprisingly,
look at you guys getting
political.
So much better at podcasting every week.
I'm behind you. Surprisingly, he was not being political. He came out and said in a video he was urging all parents to not let their kids play tackle football until they were 14 years old.
Super interesting.
And I think we've got a good cross section here because we've got Ethan, who's this is not a slight, but you never played any major contact sports. You've got Colin here, who was a very superb athlete in high school, who I begged for about 4 years to play football, but played soccer. And then you've got someone who played football for 6 years of his life from 7th grade to 12th grade. And
my brain is in the best shape out of all 3 of you. So
I'm willing to bet that. I mean,
I'm
this
kidding.
isn't a joke.
Kidding.
Like,
yeah,
had I known the stuff about
was it CTE?
The traumatic brain injuries that you're seeing now. I think there's some validity to what Mr. Crazy Mr. Show My Penis to the reporters says.
It's a good nickname.
I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, 14-year-old Matt, 13-year-old Matt, maybe wouldn't have made these choices rationally. But thinking about it now, I don't know if it was the wisest thing. Maybe I should have played soccer. I would have played soccer. I'm too slow for soccer. But maybe I would have played something else. Maybe I would have done something else. I had two diagnosed concussions, and countless other times where you get your bell rung. Yeah. Which to me, whenever I got my bell rung, meant that I lost my balance. And like that's scary. So how many other undiagnosed brain injuries have I had? Yeah. And what long-term effects does it have on me? And Colin, I mean, not to hide the plight just among football people. I mean, soccer, it's a problem too.
Yeah.
To the point where you're seeing kind of innovative technologies for headers, where they've got these kind of foam-lined headbands to try and reduce the impact, because that's still a pretty dramatic, especially if it's like a cross into the box. Yeah. That's still a hard kicked ball that you're trying to redirect with only your head. And you can hit it on your forehead if you're lucky, but what if it hits you somewhere else? So I think there's actually a little bit of wisdom there. Now I think the backlash in the country is going to be, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Blah. Like, I'm going to I played football when I was a kid. I'm going to have my kid play football. Mm-hmm. But I really do think that's at least approaching an age where you're not limiting someone from playing, competitive high school football, but you are hopefully allowing them to get far enough into the experience that they can maybe make a choice for themselves. Now his point was he never said don't play football. He said don't tackle football.
Right.
So you could still develop those skills. For someone like me, whose whole game of football was, I have the ball, I'm going to run at you, and I think I can just run at you, and I'm going to make you hurt. And that's not a great way to play because I'm not agile, and sometimes it works, but the majority of times it didn't. But you look at like touch football, you look at flag football, where it's a much more agility based, fast paced game. Those are still great skills that can transfer to tackle football. The one place where it kind of hurts is when um, you've got linemen who the guys in the trenches where they're trying to block people. But I mean, we did it in intramural and fraternity games. You can still shadow block. You can still practice the footwork involved. Which is, I'd say, 80% of blocking is having good footwork. And the other 20% is going to be your engaging with your arms, but you could still practice that. You can still do, we would do shadow blocks where essentially you just had to try and stay in front of the person and go back and forth and use your feet to delay them long enough. So as much as Brett Favre says, really shitty and dumb stuff, and as much as he steals from charities in Mississippi, look it up, everyone, he does.
Holy fuck.
I think he's got a little pearl of wisdom there.
Now, I have a question, and either or both of you, I would love to hear your thoughts, because I want to expand on this just a little bit more. So it seems to me like you're saying, Matt, obviously I agree with everything you're saying. It seems super valid, given all the science that we've learned in like the last decade or whatever it's been, 5 years, that starting to tackle like later in life probably makes sense in terms of brain health. Now, what I'm wondering, so I think you're exactly right that you're going to have plenty of people who are just going to just immediately dismiss it, like, fuck that, I'm a manly man, blah, 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 right? You'll have those people. But you're also going to have people, I think this is a little bit more valid, I'm not saying I agree with it. Football is, I mean, what is it, $1 billion sport? More than that?
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
Way more than that.
Way more? Okay, I don't know what the current numbers are. Now, so there's so much money at stake for these players, right? And so what I'm wondering is, if you don't start playing tackle football until you're 14, you're losing out on whatever experience that you could have gotten beforehand. And so if we're thinking about, for instance, the whole, 10,000 hours principle, which scientifically I don't know how accurate it is, but for a conversation, we can kind of use it, right? 10,000 hours to become a master at something, right? So if you are a really, really talented football player and you're a kid, and you're thinking, this is my passion, this is what I want to do, I'm going to fucking go for it. The idea that you might lose out on a couple years of actual, like, real tackle football experience, that could be really damaging moving forward. Now, there are a lot of people who can make a ton of progress between 14 and 18, and they do. But I feel like there are a lot of people who are going to be justified in saying, we have a right to do it at age 12 or whatever if we want to. We want that experience. We want that training. We want to be able to develop the skills longer so that by the time we're ready to go to college, we're as advanced as we can possibly be to give ourselves the best position. I'm curious if you guys have any strong thoughts about that.
Well, what are you losing outside of tackling by playing flag football or touch football? Like what Matt was saying. I mean, you still learn how to line up in formations. You still learn how to play as a team, catch the ball, run the ball, throw the ball, all of these skills. And
I will say, though, I mean, tackling is hard. And also,
just tackling and evading tackles, right? I mean, both of those things seem like significant skills to me.
But evading tackles is about vision more than it is about
vision,
powering somebody.
There's certain things where I think you can share those skills from flag football. But the actual tackle, I mean, we did drills. There's a reason. I was when I moved to linebacker, I was not a good linebacker. In terms of keys and reads, I would get the reads right. But I was so slow that by the time it was time for me to make the tackle, I couldn't do it. So yeah, you do lose the skill of the tackle, Ethan, and I do sympathize with the people who do see, I mean, like it or not, the way our culture is, and some people's socioeconomic situations are. Maybe a shot at pro sports is their best way of breaking out.
Exactly.
And so that is their passion. That's what they want to pursue. And unfortunately, a fraction of a percent of people actually make it to the pros, but that's still potentially a vector for them to get college education. And now with the change in NCAA rules, it's a way for them to capitalize on their image and get some money as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm going to agree with Colin. I don't think you lose too much.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah.
Again, like I said, for a lineman, I think it would be difficult. And for someone who's got to make a tackle, I think it's something that would definitely take some training in high school. But also, play rugby or something. Then I don't know. Like, if you really are worried about that skill, play rugby.
But as the only person here who follows big time college football program, I'm here to tell you that Penn State, for example, takes a lot of kids who are not fully developed from a football standpoint. But they project out. They say, okay, this kid's a freak athlete. He tested off the charts for whatever the tests that they have and everything. And they go ahead and sign them. And they're like 5-star, 4-star recruits because that's how they project. Doesn't always work out. But I don't know if we're trying to save people's lives here, is what we're talking about essentially. I don't really like Favre at all, but I think everybody knows that who knows me. But starting at age 14, when you throw the 10,000 hour rule out the door, like you're 14, you have a better understanding of yourself physically as a person. You can learn those skills faster than you can when you're 5 years old. I taught myself how to switch hit. I was a much better mechanically skilled left-handed hitter than I was a right-handed hitter because I had no bad habits. And I taught myself the correct way to hit, whenever we like right around that same age, like 14. And so I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal to say, hey, tackle football doesn't start till you're about 14, because those people who need to learn how to tackle, they'll figure out, like, are you big enough to be a lineman? Are you big enough to be a linebacker, whatever, fast enough to be a linebacker, whatever you got to do, they'll figure out those projections. That's why the science and the data exists for all those tests and everything. And then they'll teach you the form, and you just have to put the work in, but they'll get opportunities. So those people that you're worried about not getting opportunities, they're already getting them. They're already doing that. Like Jason Owe, who just got drafted in the first round out of Penn State, didn't play football until 11th grade, I think. Played basketball. That was how Penn State found out about him. And he's a freak. And big time recruit, big time draft pick. It worked out. Doesn't always do that, but it's already happening.
I do think, though, I mean, there is, Ethan, your argument carries weight. And luckily, like for me, I started playing when I was 12. So I was too big to play Pop Warner. I was too young to fit and move up the age bracket, and I was too large to play in the age bracket I was in. And, I wasn't interested in just going to practice and running around a bunch to, not play. So, I never made it. But I do think, I think there is a strong pull for a lot of people out there to try and use it as their way out, and to try and hone those skills as long as they can. Yeah. But then I flipped to the scenario. I still remember the first, diagnosed concussion I had was on, of all things, a punt, and I got blocked on a punt right off my release. So we were punting, and I was in my slide steps back for protection, and they sent their blockers forward. So I got hit, and I remember standing up, and it's the weirdest sensation ever. But no matter what I tried, I could not run straight down the field. And so I could not do it. And I'm, you're trained as in punt protection, you have a lane. So I had, an 8-yard wide area that was mine, that I had to cover that lane. And you never want anyone to have a gap in the lane, because that's usually where a punt return is going to turn it back for a touchdown. But I couldn't do it. And I was hit hard enough that they actually stripped all the paint off my helmet that night. I remember that because it went all the way down to the core of the helmet. And as I'm trying to get defensive signal, at this point I am playing linebacker because it was our junior year and we were so low on people. So I'm playing middle linebacker, and I'm the one that's got to get the signals from the coach. And I'm sitting there and I'm just asking for them over and over and over and over again, until finally the coach has to call timeout and yell, "What the fuck is wrong?" Because I'm the smart one. I'm not supposed to do that. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know what the signs are. And so they sat me out for the rest of the game. And I don't remember much the rest of that night. I remember we were in Baldensville, and I remember, not being kind of aware of our surroundings and having a headache for the rest of the night. So, those kind of things, I mean, they terrify me right now. There's one other story the following year where, I won't get into it, but again, a very, very similar instance where instead of not being able to run straight, I just started exhibiting really, really wild behavior, and was pulled out of pulled out of the game by one of the coaches because I was just acting erratically. So again, we'll get into that story another time, but yeah, it's interesting. I hate to say Brett Favre may be right, but he has a kernel of knowledge right there.
Yeah.
Well, and I think what you unlocked, Matt, is much like we talk about with like the rules in baseball that are going to increase the pace of play and everything, and that there's like a larger problem that needs to be addressed. And I think the larger problem that needs to be addressed in all of this is the fact that head injuries are still happening at a rate that is far too high and far too scary for a lot of people. And the NFL and trickles down they don't really seem to care. So
now I will say I used to give your dad so much shit growing up because he wouldn't let you play football. I did talk to him at your wedding, and I did tell him that there may have been 1 or 2 or 7 beers behind this, but I did say, Mr. Smelia, you were right. That was the right choice. And he was gracious as always, but I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but you still never let me pitch, Mr. Smelia. But yeah.
Well, you want to top this episode off with some baseball talk since you just talked about pitching?
Yeah, can I jump really quickly and do a viral moment that I saw this weekend? We can segue into baseball from that.
Do it up.
I guess Max Scherzer doesn't like to be touched. I didn't realize this, and it's
like
not
Adrian
like
Beltre touch.
Adrian Beltre.
No, and it's not like a playful Adrian Beltre "don't touch my head" thing. Like during his first start, Dave Roberts, the manager for the Los Angeles Dodgers, was telling a story which I saw and I thought was hilarious. That Scherzer was coming off the field, which to those of you who aren't really familiar with baseball, Scherzer is probably one of the best pitchers in the game right now. He's a multiple Cy Young winner. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's like 38 now. They call him Mad Max. He is
super intense,
crazy intense about his form and his mechanics. And then he added up, and he's a huge competitor. He wants to go out there and hit all the time, even though pitchers don't hit a lot. And then you add in his eyes are different colors too, and it's like, holy shit, this guy's intense. But anyway, he was walking off the field after an inning, and Dave Roberts smacked him on the ass like baseball players do, and he stopped and turned around and said, "Don't fucking touch me." And it's like, okay, like Adrian Beltre used to pat him on the head and he'd get angry and blah 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 blah. It was like a joke for his teammates, but Roberts was joking that like Scherzer was serious, and his whole thing was like, "I'm here because you pay me to be good, and I'm the best. I don't need encouragement or something like that. Don't fucking touch me."
Oh, that's hilarious.
The viral moment was as Scherzer was returning to the dugout after the most recent game he played. One of the backup outfielders was about to give him a smack on the back, and you see him stop and just put his hands up like, "Oh no, I can't touch that guy." It actually was pretty funny, but yeah, good. I got a good laugh out of this week for our baseball viral moment.
Amazing.
Oh, and the other thing I want to say, because we were talking about the NFL earlier and its popularity. So the Field of Dreams game got 5.7 million viewers.
The most for a regular season game in 15 years.
Yeah, best ratings for a regular season game in a long time. The Cowboys Steelers NFL preseason game got 7.9.
Holy fuck. Oh. Are you sure 5.7 million was what it was for the Field of Dreams?
Yeah, it was 5.7 or 6.
And that was the highest regular season in 15 years.
In a preseason football game.
Got 7.9.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that shows you. I mean, we've talked about, right? A couple weeks ago, we were talking about how baseball needs to make some fucking changes. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's 17 football games a year. There's 17. Right. There's 162 baseball. So
yeah. But still, holy shit. Like some super special, first time thing, like the Field of Dreams game, should get more than a preseason game in the NFL. Like that's not great. But
now I feel like I'm talking a lot, guys, so stop me.
No, do it. You're good, dude.
Well, so again, that online sports outlet that you hate, Ethan, that rhymes with headspin.
I used to love headspin.
Can't
I
even
don't love the
say
current
it.
iteration.
They wrote a good article today that was just saying like, baseball don't ruin. You have something special, don't ruin it. And the whole point was like, they asked like, they compared it to the NHL and the Winter Classic, which used to be a big deal. Like, oh, they're playing an outdoor hockey game. And now like the NHL has done it so many times in so many places with so many like mediocre results that they've just driven it into the ground. And no one cares anymore and no one watches it anymore. Like the last one they had was an outdoor game at the Cotton Bowl. Like who the fuck gives a shit about two teams playing in Texas on New Year's Day and like a football state? Like no one cares about that.
Nobody even cares about the Cotton Bowl anymore. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I did want to, after reading that, I wanted to make a proposition for what the next, if they were going to do another, I mean, they're going to do Reds and Cubs next year at the Field of Dreams, which I'm glad they're going to keep doing that. But I think it would be really, really cool to do a game at League Park, which if you guys don't know what League Park is, it's in Cleveland. It's in kind of midtown Cleveland now. It's the park where Babe Ruth called his shot, famously.
Okay.
And it's on a city block, so the thing is square. It's like 460 to center field, like 380 to left, and 300 exact to right, or 290 to right. But Cleveland, to their credit, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, spent a good amount of coin refurbishing the area and actually making it into a playable ball field again instead of just like kind of like a plaque on the ground and a ratty infield. So they put artificial turf down. It's a nice stadium now. I mean, it probably only could take 1,000 people. So there would definitely need to be a lot of work done for clubhouses and for seating and all that kind of stuff. But aside from the fact that it's in kind of a hard, a neighborhood in Cleveland that's on hard times, like that, to me, that would be really cool to see a baseball game there.
Yeah. So I would like to, well, Matt, if once you're finished, I want to tag on to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now that's a great idea. And what I'm about to say is not my idea. I've read about this and I think several people have kind of talked about this sort of thing, but, so the Field of Dreams thing is super cool. I hope that they do keep doing it at least for a while. I think it's awesome. But I think there are a lot of other things that you can do. And the guys on the podcast were talking about this, and I thought it was really great. So, like, here are a couple examples. One is that you play some games in, like, Negro League stadiums. There are a couple that still exist. So you play some games in Negro League stadiums. Like, I think in Birmingham, Alabama, there's still one. Yep. And Birmingham is super important in baseball history. I can't remember if they're born there, if they played there, but Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and Satchel Paige all have serious connections to Birmingham. Yeah. Three of the most important players of all time. So the Negro League stadiums, I think, could be awesome. Another thing is you go to other countries and play. So think about this. Think about a Padres game, maybe Padres-Dodgers, maybe a whole series, like a rivalry series in the Dominican Republic. Fernando Tatis is from the Dominican. Like, how fucking cool would that be? Can you imagine, like, what Dominican baseball fans must feel about Fernando? That must be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they did that in Puerto Rico, right? That when the Expos were doing their home games in Puerto Rico for a little while, like, that was awesome.
Yeah,
not
and think
Puerto
about
Rico's
like
another country, but that'd be
like
cool.
or like the Angels going to Japan for Shohei. Like Shohei must be a fucking god over there, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit. I don't know what that would do for like TV ratings here in America. Right. I'm not sure if it would be as much of a draw. I know I would be into it. I just think it would be like a super cool thing in general. I feel like that would just be really awesome.
Well, they have done games in Japan. Remember a couple years ago, they did A's Mariners in Japan because the Mariners signed Ichiro.
Yeah, so but do it with somebody who's in their prime though, right? And fucking and
I mean the Yankees did that
advertise
with Godzilla.
Yeah, they play with Matsui.
And that's cool. Yeah, do more of it, I'm saying, and fucking market the shit out of it, really amplify it and do it more than once and go to different places. I don't know. I feel like that could be really cool.
I mean, I think we're unfortunately over glorifying the fact that we think baseball stars are bigger than they actually are. Like, yeah, it would be really cool in those areas, like you said, but that's where baseball struggles the most all the time. Is it's a great local sport. The local channels and the local revenue is all great, but from a national standpoint, it doesn't sniff the NFL or the NBA. Yeah. And so, like, the Field of Dreams thing is something that it's a movie. So a lot of people had seen the movie, and that's why, I think it got the ratings that it got. I don't know if there's a way to really replicate something like that.
Well, so the thing I read talked about that. There is one other thing you can do. There, and it made a very controversial point. It said, well, there's a better Kevin Costner baseball movie out there.
For Love of the Game.
Talking about what?
For Love of the Game. Bull Durham.
No, Bull Durham. Yeah. And actually have a Rays Red Sox game in Durham, and make it a Bull Durham night or something.
That'd be cool too.
I think that'd be cool.
Milk that shit. Yeah, milk it. Whatever. Yeah. Any of these any famous baseball movies, if there's a way to fucking use that. And
not anything, because then you're gonna get Rookie of the Year and like, whoa!
I'm saying
Little Big League.
They have to meet a certain threshold of like famousness and popularity, like because Field of Dreams. If anybody knows of a baseball movie, they probably know of Field of Dreams, or maybe Moneyball if they're a younger person,
or The Natural.
Yeah. Oh, if they're an older person, right? That's an older one.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Not
to Robert Redford. Isn't that Robert Redford?
Not that
it
old.
is.
That's fucking old then.
Yeah.
It's
so
like,
my point is, these are movies that sort of transcend and sort of go into mainstream culture, right? Like people who aren't big baseball fans at least know of these movies. So yeah, you have to meet a certain threshold, right? There are. I'm sure there are plenty of movies out there that would not be a draw at all.
The Natural is only 5 years older than Field of Dreams, so screw you.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Field of Dreams is as old as we are.
I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, Field of Dreams is what, 89, and then The Natural is 84.
Isn't Robert Redford fucking ancient?
Here goes Ethan again, calling people old.
He was born in 1936, so yeah, he's a little old.
So he was like 60 when that movie came out.
50,
almost
48,
almost 60.
48.
Oh, I'm bad at math. Almost 50. Still, okay, so he was 48 and he was playing like a Mickey Mantle type, right? Like a baseball prodigy. And he was 48.
I've never really seen it all the way through.
Yeah, I haven't either, no.
What? Oh, man.
It's such an old movie.
How about the fact that like men who are old are get these roles of like young people and it's not questioned? When was the last time you saw like a 50-year-old woman get a role to play like a prodigy athlete who's like in her 20s?
Or no, how about Salma Hayek in The Eternals? She's in her 50s and she's the leader of the Eternals. So
what is the Eternals? I never even heard of this before.
It's the next big blockbuster from the MCU.
I guess we'll find out and see if it is.
Directed by Chloe Zhao. It's got Angelina Jolie in it. It's got that guy from Game of Thrones in it.
Kit Harington.
Yeah, Kit Harington. Yeah. I think it's him. No, his older brother.
No, Kit. I mean, he's on the cast. I don't know if.
You're looking it up. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Yeah, Kit Harington. Yeah. Also, Kumail Nanjiani. He's awesome.
Yep, he got ripped for that.
He got ripped? Why?
To play a superhero or supervillain or something.
It was probably good money.
Yeah, I'm just saying he.
Yes. Why did he get ripped?
He got cut. He got.
Oh, ripped like that. I thought you meant he got like ripped online, like people were mad at him.
No, he got ripped. He got cut.
Jacked. He got jacked.
Jacked.
Okay.
Yeah, jacked. There we go.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry.
Anyways. Yeah, don't get so high and mighty about a word that has multiple meanings and could easily be interpreted differently.
Okay, no. Now we're gonna flip this back on you because at the beginning of the show, I'm gonna teach you guys new words.
And ripped can mean multiple fucking things.
What does cromulent mean? It's been on my mind. I don't know what that means.
Cromulent?
You're looking it up right now. You're typing it in.
I can. What the? Cromulent or cromulette?
Yeah. Cromulent.
It's a Simpsons episode.
It's from a Simpsons episode.
Oh, it's from a Simpsons episode. Okay. So obscure made up words, is that your purview?
Oh, is it actually made up?
I think so. I don't
It means acceptable or fine, Ethan.
Okay, interesting. It looks like it's made up to me, but anyways.
Anyway,
what else we got to talk about? Yeah, what else we got?
I wanted to retract my statement from a couple weeks ago where I said the White Sox were the team to beat in the American League. The Yankees don't look scared of them at all. And if the Yankees aren't scared of the White Sox, then they are not the team to beat in the AL. I don't know who it is because I don't want to say the Yankees and sound like a homer, but the Yankees are red hot right now, obviously.
Astros?
Astros. Why not?
Maybe.
Probably the
Tampa Bay
Astros.
Rays.
Yeah.
Or the Rays.
It's got to be the Rays, right?
They don't have the star power, but
but they have
really
the
good.
they have the I'm gonna polish a turd power and like poof, this guy is the best hitter against the Yankees ever.
Yep, absolutely.
He-Man Choi, which I mean, he had a cup of tea with the Yankees and hit a home run and was great. And like every time he gets into the box against the Yankees, all I can think is he's gonna hit a home run now, and he usually does. Because damn it.
Now here's something we can come back to this, but here's something that I didn't know. I was just looking at the standings real quick because we were talking about this. So we know the Rays are really good. They're 73-47. That's a great record. You know who else has the same, the identical record? The fucking Brewers.
Yeah.
The Brewers are really good this year. Holy shit.
They got really good pitching this year.
Oh, yeah, because like Corbin Burns, and they've got like a couple other guys who are randomly amazing this year, right? Who like previously were not.
Yeah. And they got Hader still. Right.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, because Yelich is having like a pedestrian season, and then they're still.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's not good this year. Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day. I don't have the stats behind it. I don't know how easy it is for one of you two to look up, but I would imagine since the wild card came into play for the 94 strike shortened season, so since 1995, that the majority of seasons have featured a wild card team who has a better record than at least one division winner in baseball.
Absolutely.
And this year, there would be whoever comes out of the NL East and whoever comes out of the AL Central. So potentially the White Sox.
It's going to be the White Sox. Everyone else in the division has a losing record.
Right. And I think all the three teams in the AL East have a better record than the White Sox now. And so, like, part of me, when I was thinking about the playoff race heating up, I was like, oh my God, we just need to get rid of these divisions. Like, why do we do this? Because it sets up the wrong matchups.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. I'm excited. Like, I feel like the season's definitely heating up right now. You know, the Phillies and the Braves and the Mets. The Mets have been playing terrible, but the Braves have been red hot lately. You know, they jumped back into first place. That's going to be fun divisional, race to close things out. The NL West should be really fun. Especially if Tatis can stay healthy and can stay in with the Padres. I mean, the Giants they're unstoppable, but I think the Dodgers are probably still the team to beat in a 7-game series.
538 still has them as the by and large favorite, and actually the White Sox do have a better record than the Yankees and the Red Sox. So
okay,
it's close.
They have 70 wins. The Yankees only have 68. But.
Yeah. Well, it could have been 69 if they didn't blow the Field of Dreams game.
Yeah, I know.
That was rough. Yeah. Should be a fun finish though. It should be a good September if as long as none of these kind of teams that we're talking about, as long as none of them totally drop off, like that, it would be fun. It could be a really fun race. So
yeah.
Hopefully.
And I mean,
Rizzo just
legitimate...
hit a triple, by the way.
Who did?
Rizzo just hit a triple. Yankees 4-1.
Nice.
Rizzo, my boy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry.
But and I think in both leagues too, like you've got the A's out west. They potentially could catch the Astros, I guess. So you got the Astros, the A's. I mean, I guess the American League is so bunched up that all the teams who are in contention today could legitimately make the playoffs. The NL with the West and the East, the way they're bunched up, I think the Brewers are probably the most of the.
Yeah,
the Reds are in the mix, but they don't have much of a chance.
Aren't they like 8-9 back? Yeah,
9 back. Yeah.
I thought they were closer in the wild card though, but
maybe in the wild card. They're 9 back of Milwaukee in the division. That was what I was looking at.
So the two central teams have it locked up pretty much because they play in terrible divisions. Yeah. And then you've got the East and the West fighting it out for
it's close.
Three more spots
in both leagues. That's funny.
Yeah. So the Reds are only a game and a half back of the Padres for the second wild card. So that is tight
for the wild card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
But it's not as close. Or that's much closer than the American League.
Yeah. Huh.
Who do you think the 4 American League teams are today?
5?
Or Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
right.
5 now.
Yeah. And who do you think are the 5 NL teams?
What are we predicting?
Yeah, on
Like who's
August
gonna win?
18th. Yep.
I mean, it Rays, Sox, Astros, Yankees, A's.
That's the current, and that's like actually, I guess the Yankees, A's, and Boston are technically tied right now.
Yeah.
For the wild card, I would probably go with the same 5.
I mean, Toronto could. I mean, if you look at Toronto's run differential, like
it's pretty crazy.
They've allowed fewer runs and scored a whole lot more than the Yankees.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
their Pythagorean record, which again, sabermetrics for dummies, Pythagorean record is just a look at what your expected wins and losses should be based on your run differential, meaning how many more runs do you score than you give up. They can make a fairly accurate prediction of your expected wins and losses based on that. And actually, surprisingly, it's usually within 2 games. Most of the time, it's within 2 games of your record, which is surprisingly good. There are outliers. Usually an outlier is within 5 games. So, for example, this year, the Yankees are an outlier. They've played a lot of close games. They have a very, very slim run differential, but for some reason, they're still performing very well. So that also tells people, maybe the Yankees are getting more lucky than others. Or the other narrative is, which the Red Sox have said too, is they can pitch, so they can excel in these games. But anyway, the Red Sox and the Jays may sneak in there, but unless the Yankees like sweep the A's next week, I don't know. I think if any sort of split between the 2 teams there is bad for the Jays and the Red Sox.
See, I think Boston is not going to make the playoffs.
They have been falling pretty hard.
I think the Jays will make the wild card. I think there's a legitimate chance that the Yankees can still win the division because we still have a lot of games against the Rays.
You got three against the Rays left. That's it. Last 3 games of the season.
Only 5 games back. So they just got to keep it close. They have a legitimate chance. Either the Rays or the Yankees are probably going to take the East. I don't know. I just think the Red Sox have kind of come back to earth and are running out of gas. And
I hope that's what's happening.
And I will say at this point, and again, there's still plenty of games to go, but credit where it's deserved, Colin. You've kept the faith more than Ethan and I have.
True.
So it's. I mean, I'm excited now. I'm still nervous. I'm still afraid we're going to be let down.
yeah.
But it's been exciting.
There's a really good chance that we will be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really freaking hard to win the World Series, but I'm
not even saying the World Series. Just the fact that we're in playoff contention again is like.
I'd be happy to make the playoffs the way this season has gone.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be talking about Aaron Boone winning Manager of the Year at some point. Everybody wanted him canned, just like Davey Martinez.
That's
when
the thing, dude.
They won the World Series.
Yeah, that's the thing with all of these like reactionary fucking baseball fans, right? And it's not just Yankee fans; it's fans all over the place, and just like sports fans in general who just want like immediate action taken. And with something like baseball, it makes no sense at all. 162 games, dude. Like April through September, like the entire fucking months. Like it is a long ass season, you know? Like it's insane to just like want these immediate decisions made. Let the fucking thing play out. It's a marathon.
Correction, Rizzo didn't hit a triple. He hit a infield single.
That was our producer, Matt, not to be confused with the host, Matt. That's producer Matt, who does live fact-checking for us.
He still scored 2 runs on that infield single, though.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, producer Matt. Thank you, host Matt. Thank you, host Ethan. Say goodbye to the podcast. That is it for today.
Oh, we're done? Oh, shit. Okay, bye, everyone.
Goodbye, podcast.